Ladies, there is a profound difference between being busy and being effective, between living life by chance and living it by design. Smart women understand this distinction, and they chart their lives with clarity and purpose. Today, I want to speak about 7 rules that every wise woman should follow, principles that not only elevate her life, but also create influence, impact, and fulfillment. The first rule is to know your worth. A smart woman recognizes that her value is not determined by others' opinions or temporary circumstances. She knows that she is a unique creation with abilities and potential, and she refuses to settle for less than she deserves. Understanding your worth gives you a foundation on which every decision, relationship, and opportunity is built. Second, she guards her mind. The mind is the control center of destiny. A woman who allows negativity, doubt, or fear to dominate her thoughts will struggle to achieve her purpose. Smart women choose what they allow to occupy their minds. They feed themselves with knowledge, inspiration, and clarity. They know that to think clearly is to act wisely. Third, she sets boundaries. Life will present countless demands and distractions, but a smart woman understands that saying yes to everything is saying no to her vision. Boundaries are not walls. They are protective measures that allow her to focus on her goals, nurture her relationships, and preserve her peace. Boundaries create space for greatness. Fourth, she invests in herself. Whether it is education, skill development, or personal growth, a smart woman never neglects her own development. She knows that the better she becomes, the more value she brings to her family, community, and world. Investing in yourself is not selfish, it is essential. Fifth, she embraces purpose. Life without purpose is like a ship without a rudder, adrift and directionless. A smart woman seeks to understand her mission, her calling, and the unique contribution she is meant to make. Every action she takes aligns with her higher goal. Purpose gives her life meaning and her efforts direction. Sixth, she cultivates influence wisely. Influence is power, and power without wisdom can become destructive. A smart woman surrounds herself with people who inspire, challenge, and uplift her. She chooses her associations carefully, knowing that those she aligns with shape her destiny. Finally, she practices gratitude and resilience. Life will bring trials, setbacks, and disappointments, but a smart woman refuses to be defeated. She finds lessons in every experience, maintains a heart of thankfulness, and rises stronger after every challenge. Resilience is the mark of a woman who will endure, achieve, and inspire. Ladies, these 7 rules are not mere guidelines. They are principles that transform lives. Follow them, live by them, and watch how your life shifts from ordinary to extraordinary. Remember, greatness is not an accident, it is a choice, and it begins with wisdom, discipline, and unwavering faith in your potential. Knowing your worth is the foundation of every wise decision you will ever make in life. It is the understanding that your value is not determined by others' opinions, temporary circumstances, or external achievements. To truly know your worth is to recognize that you are a unique creation with talents, abilities, and a purpose that no one else can fulfill. When a woman understands this truth, she no longer seeks validation from those who do not appreciate her, nor does she allow herself to settle for anything less than she deserves. She realizes that compromise in areas that diminish her dignity or her potential is not an option, and she refuses to accept anything that falls short of the respect, love, and opportunity she is entitled to. Knowing your worth is not arrogance, it is clarity. It is the inner knowledge that you are valuable simply because you exist. And this knowledge gives you the strength to navigate life with confidence and authority. A woman who knows her worth does not allow others to define her identity. She is not swayed by criticism, envy, or fleeting praise. Instead, she relies on a deeper understanding of herself, her abilities, her convictions, and her purpose. She understands that people may try to diminish her value through judgment, manipulation, or neglect, but she refuses to internalize those distortions. Her self-esteem is grounded in truth, not in the inconsistent opinions of others. This kind of awareness transforms the way she interacts with the world. She speaks with confidence because she knows her voice matters. She makes decisions without hesitation because she understands that her time, energy, and resources are precious. Knowing your worth also impacts relationships. A woman who recognizes her value will not tolerate abuse, disrespect, or manipulation. She sets clear standards for how she expects to be treated, and she communicates these standards firmly but gracefully. By doing so, she not only protects herself from harm, but also attracts relationships that honor her integrity. Those who recognize her value are drawn to her strength, and those who do not are naturally repelled. This is a principle of life. When you value yourself, you naturally draw environments and people that reflect that value. Furthermore, knowing your worth empowers you to pursue opportunities aligned with your potential. You are less likely to accept mediocrity because you understand that you are capable of excellence. You are willing to invest time, effort, and resources into endeavors that expand your influence, develop your skills, and fulfill your purpose. The world often tries to convince women that their contributions are secondary or insignificant. But a woman who knows her worth refuses to be confined by such limiting narratives. She rises above societal expectations, cultural pressures, and even her own doubts because she knows her inherent value demands that she pursue the life she was created to live. Finally, knowing your worth instills resilience. Life will inevitably bring rejection, failure, and disappointment, but a woman who understands her value does not see these moments as reflections of her inadequacy. She sees them as lessons, opportunities to grow, and reminders of her unchanging significance. Her self-worth is not shaken by circumstance because it is rooted in truth, not in temporary outcomes. This awareness gives her the courage to take risks, make bold choices, and step into spaces that others might fear to enter. In conclusion, knowing your worth is the cornerstone of a life lived with purpose, confidence, and clarity. It is the awareness that you are inherently valuable, that your life has meaning, and that you are capable of achieving greatness. When you embrace this truth, you no longer allow others to dictate your direction or diminish your potential. You become a woman who commands respect, makes wise decisions, attracts meaningful relationships, and pursues her purpose without hesitation. Knowing your worth is not a luxury, it is a necessity for anyone determined to live a life of influence, fulfillment, and distinction. Guarding your mind is one of the most important disciplines a woman can cultivate. The mind is the control center of your life. It is where thoughts are born, decisions are made, and actions are determined. Whatever occupies your mind will shape your character, your relationships, and ultimately your destiny. A woman who fails to guard her mind may find herself drifting aimlessly, overwhelmed by negativity, doubt, and fear. But a woman who understands the value of her thoughts and chooses to protect them creates a life of clarity, purpose, and power. To guard your mind is to take responsibility for what you allow to enter and dwell in your thoughts. It is a conscious decision to refuse anything that weakens your spirit, distorts your vision, or undermines your potential. The first step in guarding your mind is awareness. Many people allow harmful thoughts to take root without realizing the impact they have on their behavior. Criticism, gossip, envy, and fear can quietly influence decisions, erode confidence, and rob a person of peace. A woman who guards her mind becomes aware of these intrusions. She recognizes that her thoughts are not passive. They're active forces that shape her reality. She learns to question what she consumes, whether it is conversations, media, or social influences, and decides what is worthy of her attention. She understands that not every opinion, trend, or circumstance deserves a place in her mental space. Guarding your mind also requires discipline. It is not enough to simply avoid negativity. A wise woman actively cultivates thoughts that empower and elevate her. She feeds her mind with knowledge, wisdom, inspiration, and truth. She studies principles that strengthen her character, reflects on lessons that refine her judgment, and engages with ideas that expand her vision, just as a gardener carefully tends to a garden. Removing weeds and nourishing the soil, a woman must tend to her mind, weeding out destructive thoughts and planting seeds that will bear fruit in her life. Furthermore, guarding your mind means controlling your inner dialogue. The words you speak to yourself shape your self-image and your confidence. A woman who allows doubt, self-criticism, or fear to dominate her thoughts will struggle to move forward even when opportunities appear. Conversely, a woman who speaks words of affirmation, courage, and clarity to herself builds resilience and strength. She trains her mind to see possibilities instead of obstacles, to embrace solutions instead of problems, and to focus on growth instead of limitation. This internal vigilance transforms challenges into opportunities and setbacks into lessons. Guarding your mind also protects your emotions. Thoughts and feelings are interconnected. Uncontrolled thoughts often lead to unnecessary worry, stress, and emotional turbulence. A woman who maintains control over her mental environment experiences greater emotional stability, which allows her to make rational decisions even in difficult circumstances. She is not swayed by every rumor, every negative comment, or every temporary difficulty. Instead, she remains anchored in wisdom, discernment, and faith in her purpose. Finally, guarding your mind empowers you to influence your life and the world around you. The clarity, focus, and creativity that emerge from a disciplined mind allow you to act with intention and precision. You become a woman who is not reactive but proactive, who shapes her environment rather than being shaped by it. You understand that the quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. By guarding your mind, you safeguard your future, your relationships, your peace, and your potential. In conclusion, guarding your mind is not a passive exercise. It is an active, deliberate, and disciplined choice. It is the understanding that what you allow to dwell in your mind directly impacts every area of your life. A woman who guards her mind lives with clarity, confidence, and purpose. She cultivates thoughts that empower, eliminates those that weaken, and speaks to herself with words that strengthen. She is aware, disciplined, and intentional, understanding that the mind is the most valuable asset she possesses. Guard your mind, for in doing so, you protect your destiny, your influence, and the life you are meant to live. If you want, I can expand the next rule, set boundaries, into 600 words in the same style, continuing the full speech series. Setting boundaries is one of the most important disciplines a wise woman can practice. Life is filled with countless demands, expectations, and pressures, each competing for a portion of your time, energy, and attention. Without clear boundaries, it is easy to become overwhelmed, drained, and distracted from your purpose. A woman who understands the power of boundaries recognizes that they are not walls built to isolate her from others, but protective measures that preserve her peace, focus, and dignity. Boundaries define what is acceptable and what is not, allowing her to live intentionally rather than reactively. They are the invisible lines that mark the space where her values, goals, and well-being are respected. The first step in setting boundaries is self-awareness. A woman must understand her priorities, her limits, and her non-negotiables before she can communicate them to others. Without this clarity, it is impossible to enforce boundaries consistently. She must ask herself, what do I value most? What drains me? What relationships or activities align with my purpose? And which ones diminish my energy or distract me from my vision? By identifying these factors, she gains a clear understanding of where to draw the line and what to protect. Boundaries are a reflection of self-respect. They communicate to the world that she values her time, energy, and emotional health. Setting boundaries requires courage. Many women hesitate to enforce limits because they fear rejection, conflict, or disapproval. Yet, avoiding boundaries for the sake of comfort ultimately leads to frustration, resentment, and exhaustion. A wise woman understands that saying no is not selfish, it is necessary. She knows that every yes to what diminishes her life is a no to what builds it. Boundaries empower her to make decisions in alignment with her goals and values, rather than being dictated by the expectations or demands of others. Courage in this context is the willingness to prioritize long-term purpose over short-term approval. Boundaries are also essential for healthy relationships. Without them, relationships can become imbalanced, exploitative, or toxic. A woman who clearly communicates her limits teaches others how to treat her. She creates an environment where mutual respect, understanding, and consideration are possible. When others honor her boundaries, the relationship grows stronger, deeper, and more meaningful. When they do not, she recognizes that detachment or distance may be necessary. Boundaries protect her emotional well-being while allowing her to engage fully and authentically in the relationships that matter. Additionally, boundaries help maintain focus and productivity. Time and energy are finite resources. A woman who lacks boundaries finds herself constantly distracted, overcommitted, and unable to accomplish her most important goals. By setting clear limits on how her time is spent, she prioritizes activities and people that contribute to her growth and purpose. Boundaries create space for reflection, rest, and strategic action. They allow her to invest her resources wisely rather than scattering them on tasks, obligations, or relationships that yield little value. Finally, setting boundaries is an act of empowerment. It communicates to the world that a woman respects herself, values her life, and refuses to be diminished. Boundaries foster inner peace, confidence, and clarity. They provide the freedom to live intentionally, make wise choices, and pursue one's purpose without compromise. A woman who sets boundaries becomes a model of strength and self-respect, inspiring others to recognize and protect their own limits. In conclusion, setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness, but an act of wisdom and self-preservation. Boundaries define your space, protect your energy, and preserve your dignity. They're essential for maintaining focus, fostering healthy relationships, and living a life aligned with your purpose. A woman who sets boundaries lives intentionally, makes choices that honor her values, and commands respect without apology. Boundaries are the framework within which a life of clarity, power, and fulfillment is built. And every wise woman understands that her peace and potential depend on them. Investing in yourself is one of the most powerful decisions a woman can make in her life. It is the conscious choice to prioritize growth, development, and well-being, recognizing that the greatest resource you will ever have is yourself. Many women spend their energy on pleasing others, meeting obligations, or fulfilling expectations. Yet they neglect the most important person in their life, themselves. A woman who invests in herself understands that she cannot give what she does not possess. She knows that personal growth, knowledge, skills, and emotional health, the foundation upon which success, influence, and fulfillment are built. When you invest in yourself, you are not being selfish. You are being strategic. You are equipping yourself to live a life of purpose, resilience, and impact. The first step in investing in yourself is recognizing your potential. Every woman has unique talents, passions, and abilities that, when cultivated, can change the trajectory of her life. Investing in yourself begins with identifying these gifts and making a deliberate commitment to develop them. This may involve education, skill building, mentorship, or self-reflection. It requires discipline and dedication to consistently pursue growth, even when it demands time, effort, or resources. A woman who invests in herself does not wait for opportunity to find her. She prepares herself to seize every opportunity that aligns with her purpose. Investing in yourself also requires prioritizing your mental, emotional, and physical health. A wise woman understands that her body and mind are the instruments through which she experiences life and achieves her goals. She nurtures her well-being through exercise, nutrition, rest, and mindfulness. She protects her mind from toxic influences and cultivates positive thoughts, self-discipline, and emotional resilience. By doing so, she strengthens her capacity to handle challenges, make sound decisions, and maintain clarity even in difficult circumstances. Investing in yourself is not only about acquiring knowledge and skills, it is about creating a life of balance, energy, and strength that allows you to thrive. Furthermore, investing in yourself involves taking risks and stepping outside your comfort zone. Growth rarely occurs in familiar surroundings or predictable routine. A woman who is committed to her development is willing to embrace challenges, face fears, and explore new opportunities. She understands that failure is not the opposite of success, but a necessary part of the journey toward excellence. Every experience, whether triumph or setback, contributes to her growth and equips her with wisdom, resilience, and perspective. Investing in yourself means valuing progress over perfection and viewing every step forward as an achievement worth pursuing. Investing in yourself also has a profound impact on your relationships and environment. When you grow, learn, and strengthen yourself, you naturally elevate those around you. A woman who is committed to her development brings value, insight, and inspiration to her family, friends, colleagues, and community. She becomes a source of wisdom and encouragement, influencing others to pursue their own growth. By investing in yourself, you create a ripple effect of empowerment, raising the standard for what is possible, not only for yourself, but for those whose lives you touch. Finally, investing in yourself cultivates confidence and independence. A woman who has developed her skill, expanded her knowledge, and nurtured her well-being becomes a force to be reckoned with. She is not dependent on validation, approval, or support from others to recognize her value or make decisions. She trusts her judgment, believes in her capabilities, and acts with courage and clarity. This kind of self-investment creates freedom, the freedom to pursue purpose, embrace opportunities, and live authentically without compromise. In conclusion, investing in yourself is not a luxury, it is a necessity for anyone determined to live a life of significance. It is the intentional cultivation of your talents, mind, body, and spirit to unlock your full potential. When you invest in yourself, you are preparing to face life's challenges, seize opportunities, and fulfill your purpose with confidence and authority. A woman who commits to her own growth becomes unstoppable, inspiring others, achieving her goals, and leaving a lasting legacy. Your greatest asset is you invest wisely, consistently, and unapologetically. Embracing purpose is one of the defining marks of a woman who is determined to live a life of significance. Purpose is the inner compass that guides every decision, every action, and every relationship. Without purpose, life becomes a series of random events, distractions, and unfulfilled potential. A woman who embraces her purpose understands that she was created for a reason, and that every talent, experience, and opportunity has been designed to serve that calling. Purpose gives clarity to her choices, strength to her perseverance, and meaning to her journey. It is the driving force that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary impact. The first step in embracing purpose is self-discovery. A woman must seek to understand her unique gifts, passions, and convictions. This requires reflection, introspection, and a willingness to explore her own heart and mind. Purpose is not always revealed instantly. It is uncovered gradually through experiences, challenges, and lessons learned. A woman who actively seeks her purpose pays attention to what inspires her, what moves her emotionally, and what aligns with her deepest values. She recognizes that purpose is not dictated by others' expectations or societal pressures. It is discovered within. Once purpose is understood, embracing it requires commitment. It is not enough to simply acknowledge a calling. One must live it consistently. A woman who embraces her purpose makes decisions that align with her mission. She prioritizes actions that move her closer to her goals and declines distractions that divert her energy. She understands that every moment is an opportunity to act in harmony with her purpose, and she refuses to let trivial matters or temporary setbacks derail her. Purpose becomes the standard by which she measures her life, the lens through which she evaluates opportunities, and the foundation upon which she builds her legacy. Embracing purpose also provides resilience in the face of challenges. Life is filled with obstacles, setbacks, uncertainties, but a woman who knows her purpose does not succumb to discouragement. She views challenges as opportunities to grow, refine her skills, and strengthen her character. Purpose provides a sense of direction that keeps her grounded even when circumstances are difficult. It allows her to persevere when others give up, to remain focused when distractions arise, and to find meaning in every experience, whether it brings success or failure. Purpose also shapes the way a woman interacts with the world. A woman who embraces her calling acts intentionally, not reactively. She engages in relationships and pursuits that align with her mission, and she inspires others through her example. Her life becomes a beacon of clarity, influence, and impact, drawing people, opportunities, and resources toward her. She recognizes that her purpose is not just for personal fulfillment, but also for contributing to the lives of others, leaving a positive imprint on her community, and shaping the world in meaningful ways. Finally, embracing purpose instills confidence and fulfillment. A woman who lives with purpose is not easily swayed by doubt, criticism, or fear. She has a clear understanding of why she exists and what she is here to accomplish. This clarity provides the courage to take bold steps, the patience to endure setbacks, and the wisdom to make decisions that honor her mission. Fulfillment comes not from external validation or material gain, but from the alignment of her life with her calling. Every action taken in accordance with purpose reinforces her sense of meaning and strengthens her resolve to continue on her path. In conclusion, embracing purpose is the key to a life of clarity, resilience, and impact. It is the recognition that you were created for a reason and that your gifts, experiences, and opportunities are meant to serve a greater mission. A woman who embraces her purpose lives intentionally, navigates challenges with confidence, and inspires those around her. Purpose provides direction in decisions, strength in adversity, and meaning in every step of the journey. To embrace your purpose is to embrace the fullness of your potential, the depth of your influence, and the significance of your life. It is the cornerstone of a life that leaves a legacy, transforms the world, and fulfills the destiny that has been uniquely assigned to you.